Hello, and thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Jamie. Today I want to talk about the importance of showing up fully, being yourself, saying what you feel to say, doing what you feel to do, going where you feel to go, because my experiences since leaving my life in Pittsburgh, selling everything, and going to Australia have been nothing short of magic. And the reality is that this life we're living can be so magical when we realize that we're spirits having this human experience, when we realize our power to create anything, and we realize like the little things are the big things. So yeah, basically I got guided here to Hawaii sight unseen. I bought a one-way ticket from Australia and landed in this beautiful area with so many people that I feel like I've known forever. Like, I feel that we've had past lives together, but not only that, I've been in having conversations with the people around me. It's like a few different people have lived various aspects of my life. One has lived through a very similar childhood to mine, and we came out feeling the same way from that. Another one has lived other experiences that I had as an adult, and these are very like seemingly niche experiences that we share. So I feel so at home here, so at home in myself, who I am, and just so seen and understood, but not because I've been explaining myself or trying to be understood. It's like we all got guided here to buy one-way tickets on an intuitive nudge, on our true feeling, and it's like we're all linking up now. So for years I've been doing the inner work more on my own than with others, although at times I've been with others. At times I've had close friendships, but mostly I've been going this alone. And, I've held on to the hope that I was going to end up meeting my people, that I was going to like land with the people who I wouldn't have to translate for, like that I wouldn't have to explain things to, that would just get it. But it started to feel like maybe that wasn't going to happen. There were a lot of times where it felt like maybe that wasn't going to happen. I kept being in places where I just wasn't really connecting that deeply with people. And so I just was living my life. I was following my joy, which I think is very important in this whole thing. When we follow our joy, when we follow our passions, when we do the things that light us up, it puts us in this energy to then attract everything that we've been asking for. And so that's what's happening right now. I stopped living in a way where I was like holding out, waiting for anything to happen. I was living as though everything was aligning, and I was like not even worrying about what was there, what wasn't there. I just started doing everything that I wanted to do, everything that lit me up. If I saw a concert that looked really good to me, I just bought the ticket then and there, as soon as it popped up, even if it was months in advance, because, I love live music. And yeah. So anyway, I buy a one-way ticket here, and now I feel like all these people, we all got pulled here to meet at this specific time, at this point in our journey. Most of us have been healing, doing the inner work, and we're at a place of feeling to be social and feeling to be playful and feeling to connect with other people in community. And it's really, really beautiful to experience that. And, I think too, I'm just realizing like how vitally important it is that we show up fully as ourselves, and that we speak the things that come to us, even if we don't know why we're speaking it. I had this really beautiful experience last night that I just wanted to share today. It's mostly why I'm making this video, because, oh my gosh, like, you can't make this stuff up. And as the various parts were linking up, I didn't even realize like what was going on until it was all finished. So anyway, I'll just start. We were sitting at the table. It was about sunset. It was getting to be dusk, and we're sitting there chatting, and I started telling this story about how I was once on these people's property, and there was this beautiful tree. And it started talking about things I've done to help trees heal. And anyway, this property had this beautiful tree, this huge oak tree. And one of the branches had been cut a long time ago, but there was like, the tree was growing through that. It had started growing like a whole other branch off of that. And I was talking about how beautiful that is, you know. It was so resilient that it was just like, you can't mess with me. Like, I'm gonna keep growing through this, which is much how we can be, by the way. But so I ended up having a whole telepathic communication, like conversation with this tree, and you know, talking to it about, because I was just like really loving it, and I helped it blow off the trauma of that past injury. And then it was telling me that it had all these like metal tools, all these things stored against it, like leaning up against it. And it started telling me like it doesn't like having all of that on it. And so I told my friend to tell the people there. I don't know if she did or not. I don't know how open they were, but it really didn't like this. So as we're talking, you know, as I'm telling this story, the other guy here at the homestead started talking about how he was like, funny that you say that, because there's this tree, this Kamani tree here on the property, where one of the structures, the metal roof, is like cutting into the tree because the tree has grown over the roof. And when the wind blows, it's just kind of rubbing in this one spot, and it's like cutting the tree. And, you know, and it makes me sad that it's doing that. And so he kind of was like, I want to like cut that part of the roof off. Like, I kind of want to dismantle that, but I want to like go take care of that. And I was like, yeah, let's go do it. So we all decided to do it. And it's basically at this point almost like dark. Like, we ended up using a headlamp to even see what we were doing. When we got to the tree, sure enough, there was this cut. The metal roof was going into it, and it almost looked like it was bleeding because the sap was coming out of that spot. So he cuts the metal roof, and the tree was so happy. The tree was so happy. At the beginning, it just kept saying, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And then it was like, the way I translated it was that it was like crying, like happy tears. Like, it was so happy that it was crying. And it felt so good to do that. And, you know, then at the end of the night, he thanked me for sharing what I did, and for us to just be so into going and taking care of that right away. And actually, where I'm staying on the property is right next to that tree. I'm surrounded by these trees. They're beautiful. It's why I love this spot so much. So I was talking to the tree last night and just thanking it and just kind of being in awe of the whole thing. Anyway, before I left the main house, he thanked me, and I was just like, oh, thank you. And then it came out that before I started telling that story, he had thought of that tree. He had that come into his mind about the tree, about wanting to help it. And me having no like logical idea that that was going on within his mind, started just telling about how I've helped trees heal, how I've helped them blow off trauma that they had experienced, how I could feel their sadness, how I could talk to them telepathically. And this whole beautiful thing came about to free that tree from that roof and allow it to now heal from that injury and move forward and just keep growing so beautifully. It's a reminder to me to show up fully, to speak whatever comes to me, because I have chosen to live with the intention that my spirit speaks to other people's spirits, like that I only speak to people's spirits, that I only speak to the spirits in nature, spirits, like all the living things, spirits, nothing else. You know, I have no interest in talking to somebody's headspace or speaking with someone's ego. Very disinterested when those things surface. I just find myself not wanting to continue the conversation, and I can feel very acutely like when that's happening. So I choose to speak to spirits. Like, I choose to speak to a person's spirit. And when you do that, I feel like I'm just living in such alignment with my true feeling, with my spirit, that these things happen and come through that I'm meant to do for the betterment of all involved. And I love it. I love it. And I want to do this more, really. And it's funny when you have these kinds of skills, because it's like, it's not like you can just go apply for a job to do this stuff. So I'm just doing what comes up to do in any given moment. I did a session for a friend recently, and a holographic kinetic session, and you know, I was supposed to go and travel and do this trip, and instead the session took precedence, and it felt like a priority. So I prioritized that, and it's been so beautiful to hear from the person of how much that has helped them shift and how much better things have been for them since then. So I choose to only live in that energy, to do what I feel to do in any given moment, because, you know, our minds can make plans, our minds can like think that we know everything that we're meant to do, or try and control situations on where we're going and what we're going to do there. But the most magic for me has come from following my true feeling, really following that inner calling, feeling into what feels best for me in any given moment, and moving away from what doesn't feel good and not doing those things. And it's been just magical. It's been magical. So I urge you in your own life to start showing up more fully as you, because you're the only one that can do that. You've had the experiences you've had, you've learned what you've learned on purpose. It's all by design. It's all for a reason. Nothing that happens to us, nothing that we can learn and grow from is on accident. There are no coincidences in this reality. Where I flew to, where I ended up coming to, where I felt to live, none of it was by accident. And the amount of synchronicities that have come up since then are incredible. For instance, one more thing, and then I'll let you go and live your day fully, but I just came from Australia. I traveled there for 2.5 months. The homestead that I landed in Hawaii, one of the main people that have been living here for years, his instrument of choice, the didgeridoo. We were sitting outside under the stars last night, and he was playing the didgeridoo, and I thought to myself, like, it is no accident me being right here, right now, with these specific people. So do what you feel called to do. Quiet your mind, meditate. To do that, learn how to quiet your mind, because when you quiet your mind, you can allow your true feeling to come through. Your intuition can get louder. You'll start getting to know yourself in a deeper way, and that's going to guide your steps over your logical mind, because our logical minds, I feel like for me, it feels like my logical mind is limited by my limited 5 senses, but my spirit has no limits. My intuition has no limits. So I hope you have a really beautiful day, and that this resonates and helps you move forward in a more authentic way in your own life, and that you get so much magic happening all around you and within you especially.